Kyle Busch is a two-time NASCAR Cup Series champion. He's won more races than anybody that's ever breathed.
I wish.
But there's one that this young man doesn't have on his resume, and I'm sure he hasn't talked about that once this week.
Yeah.
How does that hang over you, man? The Daytona 5. It's you're a Hall of Famer. Everybody knows that. First ballot. You're
Right.
first ballot Hall of Famer. Where does that live in your world?
I mean, it's frustrating to not have won this race before, but also, you come to understand that this race isn't won by 100% skill. You know what I mean? Like, it's almost 98% luck and 2% chance.
You seem disgusted.
So it is what it is, I mean, last year for years we've seen guys be leading into turn 3 and get crashed from the third place guy, and then the fourth place guy wins the race, So it's just a matter of whatever it is, being at the right place at the right time. I mean, certainly there are ways to win this one. We have not found that way to win this one, but I wouldn't say that there's an exact script of what to do to win this one.
I mean, not just you necessarily, but in your career as a fan, what's the weirdest thing you've seen separate someone from taking checkers here and not winning it at all?
He's had a couple.
Yeah, I've had a couple, but you look at the Earnhardt story, right? I mean, how many years did he come down here and flat tire into 3, engine failure blowing up, something else happened, flip down the back stretch, with 3 to go, 5 to go, whatever it was. So, and then finally 1998, it all kind of came through and he was able to score the win, But there's just so many ways of losing it, right? That it's paramount. But by the time when you do get it, it's going to mean all that much more. So would love to be able to do that, obviously, and score that win, and being able to check that last box in my career of being able to achieve all there is to achieve.
You have done it all. I wonder, you got 10 or 15 years left, whatever you decide. It's going to be a you decision, right? As you've looked back at it and tried to reminisce while living it in the moment, what is the pinnacle that stands out? Like, what is the top? Is it those championships, or is there something? I don't know.
I would say the championship, sure. Those are the highs. Winning Bristol triples, those were really cool. Yep. Nobody's ever done that. That's something that no one's ever done, right? The other thing I think too is it kind of flies under the radar, but when I won the Coca-Cola 600 back in 2018, I think it was, that was the final check mark of being able to win a race at every active track that I had raced at. And
dude, that's stupid.
And no one else has been able to do that. And there's an asterisk next to that, obviously, because the schedule hadn't changed a whole lot over the course of the 8 years, 9 years, or whatever it was. But I was able to get that in that time. So that, to me, is one that kind of I feel like flies under the radar.
It definitely does. I wouldn't have that's not kind of in here.
Yeah.
So I knew I was going to do. I knew the championships mattered. Obviously, that's the reason for doing it. But I knew with you there would be something I wasn't prepared for.
Your brother said it was partying with Gronk. So I'm wondering if you have.
He wasn't. I bet he was on an airplane home after that.
Oh, no, that was
when he won the 500.
That was a different night.
No, I partied with Gronk on a different night. Yeah.
Describe it.
Who hasn't Gronk partied with?
That's true, but Super Bowl championship night, after they won the last one as a Patriot, I was there for that one, and we were at the Patriots party, so that was pretty fun.
And?
Nothing really cool happened. It was just partying with Gronk. We were just BSing and stuff like that, having a good old time.
Both of you guys have I guess it was a previous relationship with what it might now be a competitor.
Yes, that's correct.
Is that the right way to? The right verbiage of how to say that?
Yeah, you hit it. You know how to do it.
I want to know what. So, for those of you watching or listening who may not know, Kyle's son is like hard neck deep into racing. I mean, he is in it. They are doing it. What have you learned or been reminded of about the fundamental passion of why you do it by watching and teaching him?
Yeah, I mean, that's the biggest thing is just, when we first started this, we just went to the racetrack, be with his friends, make circles, whatever. He'd go 3 laps down in an 8-lap heat race. It was definitely not the competition aspect of what it's now turned into. But being in it for a year and a half that he's been in it, he's obviously really taken to it. Now he gets out of the car. He asks me questions about, hey, where's my video? Let's watch the video. What could I have done differently? I lost the race on the restart. Help me, figure out what I needed to change and do better. Like, he's asking all those questions. So it's really changed a lot, and his dynamic of what he's doing out there right now on the racetrack. So it's really fun. And, being his driver coach has kind of allowed me to see it from a different perspective that now allows me to kind of be my own driver coach.
How?
Just because, like, so beforehand, you're just doing everything in the moment and you're just driving around. You don't ever necessarily think of it as like the bird's eye view or the spotter's view of what you're doing, and being like, okay, you know, hey man, there's other guys trying the outside line, or hey, go in higher, come out lower, or just looking at different stuff, trying different things. You know, last night, for instance, you know, we were trying to make up lap time being separated from the group, and so I was dragging brake actually to get connected with my teammate Christopher Bell to have him push me to gain more speed down the straightaways. And so that was something that I told myself, that if I was watching Brexton doing it, like, hey man, you need to try this, you need to do this, like, get connected with your teammate, have him push you, be faster. So like all that stuff now is, you know, it's in my head where I'm now being my own driver coach. I can't wait for the day I get to fire that guy.
Does he have a temper? Has he got a little bit of dad in him?
He basically, like, yeah, a little bit.
Mom's a lot more composed than dad, so who knows?
Well,
he might have.
Not all the time.
She's
Not
pretty
all the time.
competitive too.
She
You're right.
She is competitive. The better he's been doing, the more competitive she's been getting too, because she'll see him go in a heat race and just kind of like flounder around and not really try very hard and not finish good, and she'll get his ass after the race. You know? So it's pretty funny.
Just as a dad, what's your dynamic like with him? It sounds like he comes to you with a lot of questions, which is the best you can ask for if he's trying to learn. But what's, you know, how do you motivate him?
I mean, motivation is, I think it should be self-done, right? Like, you want to go out there and win the race. If you're not winning the race, you're trying to figure out why you're not winning the race. So him asking those questions is really good to be more motivating to me to help him to get to that point. But as far as being the dad, like, you know, I'll go to him and I'll give him a hard time, but I'll also pump him up and teach him and tell him like things that he's doing well, doing good. And then when it boils down to the end is just, you know, him being able to come back to me. I feel like that's the biggest thing right now, is he doesn't despise me or hate me for like wanting to instill better into him. And so when he gets out of the car, it's not like he wants to avoid dad, you know, because he's going to get yelled at. He actually comes up and wants to go through stuff. So that's really good. I remember I didn't start as young as he started. So I was like 13, 14 when I started. And when I got to being about 16, 17, I was like, okay, my dad's an idiot. You know, he's not very smart. Like, you get that real rebellious stage. So we haven't gotten to that point yet where dad doesn't know it all.
You don't know shit.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I actually know a lot, and I keep my worth by. We just went to the go-kart track down here in Orlando yesterday, and I let him go his first run and let him learn the track and do the things that he wanted to do. He ran like a 30-80. And then I taught him, I showed him the track, I taught him the lines, I said, do this, do this, do this. And he went back out there the next time and he ran a 30 flat. So he picked up 0.8 of a second. So I was like, okay, I'm keeping my worth right now because he's going faster.
Yeah, look, we got to let you go. I know you got a lot of stuff to do, but I want to share this with people who may not know a whole lot about your story. I want you to share about what you and Sam have done for other families who have struggled to have children, because it's a dramatic movement. And I want to know what these families are saying to you about hope, because y'all are giving a lot of people hope.
Yeah, I appreciate that. So Samantha and I, to have our son Brexton, who we've just talked a lot about, had to go through IVF. We weren't able to conceive naturally due to women factor, male factor. So going through IVF and learning all the things that it takes to be able to have a child and all the science behind it, we actually started the Bundle of Joy Foundation Fund, the Bundle of Joy Fund. People can go to bundleofjoy.org to check that out. But what we do is we raise money, raise awareness, all that sort of stuff, and we fund other people to be able to go through the IVF journey, because IVF's expensive. It's $25,000 just to go through a round, and that does not guarantee you your own bundle of joy at the end of the day. You know, so some couples go through it 2, 3, 4, 5 times. So we're on our 7th try right now for our baby girl. Brexton was, knock on wood, he was our first try. He was our first miracle. So you know, we've blessed over 50 families. We've got over 50 babies born.
Awesome.
We've donated over $1 million, and we're going to keep this going. As Brexton being the godfather of it all, you know, he's enjoying it too. We have family play days and all that, where all the younger kids kind of look up to him.
Oh,
so
that's cool.
What's the perspective that gives you about, because we've known each other a really long time.
Yeah.
I know how intense you are about excellence, but when you're dealing with real life, that's different perspective.
Right.
How has that kind of sort of changed your overall perspective?
It's changed your perspective because it just kind of tells you how fragile things are, right? How fragile life is. But, talk about the hope aspect of it as well, too, where you're giving these families hope. And, we give out grants typically around December 1st for Christmas season, and then we also do it around May time, which is Brexton's birthday. And so being able to do that, you give people this hope and this something to really look forward to over the holiday season. And then many of them, knock on wood, get pregnant and go on and have a birth. And many of them, it doesn't work still, so they have to retry or go through or find different ways to cope with it. But it's a mental journey as much as it is a physical journey.
Rapid fire. There's no good transition out of that.
There is no good transition.
I've been asking this question to everybody. Talladega Nights or Days of Thunder?
Days of Thunder.
He'll recite the whole movie right here.
Perfect.
He knows every line.
Yeah. In case you don't know it, Rowdy Burns about one of my favorite characters. So
I could tell.
Yeah, he's my boy.
All right, we'll get you out of here on this. What should we expect on Sunday afternoon in the Daytona 500?
I don't know, man. I'd like to say that the number 18 M&M's Camry is going to be the one to beat, but there's a lot of good cars down here, a lot of good drivers, and like I said earlier, it's a crapshoot. It comes down to where you're at and what you're doing towards the end of the race. So keep yourself in position to have that chance at the end to be able to go out there and make a move and get a win. So that's what we got to do. That's what we're going to be striving for, and looking forward to the 500 miles on Sunday.
I appreciate you so much. Thank you for your time and insight. And just real quick, a couple years ago, the great Kyle Busch could not participate in his fantasy football draft. So Kyle Busch called me and asked me if I would draft his team for him. I did that. I drafted Matthew Stafford over Andrew Luck, and I took such a ration of shit for this.
From the whole league.
From everybody involved.
Yeah.
And as a result, I asked Matthew Stafford to sign a helmet, which I presented to Kyle, and I just wondered if you knew who won the Super Bowl this year.
I do know who won the Super Bowl
Doesn't help
this
him
year.
out in his fantasy league.
If I had Matthew Stafford and Cooper Kupp in my fantasy league this year, I might have won that thing. I might have won that thing. Who would have ever thunk it? But yeah, game time right there. I think Matthew went like third or fourth best that year.
Yes,
that
he hooped, man. He balled out.
Yeah, he did.
And
I wouldn't say the Lions were very good, but he was
No.
able to ball out for my team.
That's the thing about fantasy.
I
The
know.
team doesn't have to be
I
good.
know.
The guy has to be good.
That's right. Yeah. So Stafford's used to carrying it on his back, apparently.
Appreciate you.
All
Thank
right,
you,
right on.
brother.
Thank you,
Kyle
Kyle.
Busch, ladies and gentlemen.